Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today, I'm going over the 10 do's and don'ts of movie buying. This is just a series of tips that I have found work for me. I think some of them will work for a lot of you, and some of these are things I wish people had told me when I was a little bit newer to serious collecting, or if I was just buying movies in general, especially boutique movies. And the first of these is, of all the places you can order online, do order from Orbit DVD from Asheville, North Carolina. Of course, they have a physical store you can go to. It's not that far from the Great Smoky Mountains. But I frequently order from them. If you order, I think it's like 3 purchases, you get free shipping. They're really quick. Sometimes I've had them shipped same day. I don't think that's very uncommon. They will do pre-orders for you, and what they'll do is, once all the items are pre-ordered and they release, they send them out at the same time. Makes it kind of easy to keep track of. And they're quite safely packaged. I never have issues with that. You can see videos of people and they'll show you how they put like bubble between. And I've looked at that and seen that as well. So very safely, securely packaged. Along those lines, what I recommend you do not do, never do, is do not order from Amazon. Now, some people will disagree with me on this, but I've had so many issues with Amazon over the years that I stopped using them entirely because it became a hassle to have to return stuff so frequently. The worst and most egregious example, now this is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is one of my favorite movies. And the first copy I got of this, when I opened it up, there was yellow sticky goo all over this. And it just felt like someone had thrown a bootleg disc in there. I've had cracked disc. I've had stuff delivered in such a way that I'm surprised the whole disc didn't crack in half and the whole package didn't crack. Just on and on with issues from Amazon. And I'm just not going to order from them anymore because just too many issues. Plus, along those lines, you're supporting a really consistent physical media shop if you order from Orbit. And you're just ordering from a corporate thing if you order from Amazon. But corporate isn't always bad for this. Sometimes you have to deal with corporations. And I would say, as a do, this might sound surprising if you haven't done physical media shopping in a long time, but I do encourage you to go to Walmart and see if your Walmart has physical media in the form of steelbooks. Walmart has some good steelbook exclusives, and they have some other stuff too. Like they recently put out some horror movies like It Follows with reasonable slipcovers on them at a good price. And I have found that if I go to Walmart every so often, I'll find a neat steelbook in there. I have a really beautiful Lord of the Rings steelbook that I got from there. And they have kind of taken the mantle on that as far as mainstream corporations go. Now, something that I won't be doing, and I encourage you not to do, and I won't do this again probably, very likely, is don't go to Best Buy looking for physical media. They used to have these gorgeous steelbooks, and I have a Wicker Man from them. I have a Texas Chainsaw Massacre from them. And for a company that sells like Blu-ray players and home theater stuff, to not sell that stuff anymore, I mean, you go there and it's not there anymore. I think that's pretty universal. You all can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, it's not a good choice. So I would just stay away from Best Buy in general. The fact that they just kind of abandoned the physical media community, it's really bad. I remember when they were clearing out the last of their stuff, how you could get a lot of stuff for cheap, and it's just kind of, I don't know, I didn't really love it. If you're looking for actual boutique, like Criterion's, for example, if you're not already doing this, which, because some people don't know about this, do look out for these sales that Criterion.com puts out and Barnes & Noble puts out. So for the website, somewhere around the late February, October, there's like a day where you can go in and they'll have a flash sale. And you'll have like a 24-hour period or so where you can get, I think, everything half off. And they stack points for you. So if you buy a ton of product from them, you will eventually get like $50 back. And I love their customer service at Criterion.com. It's absolutely wonderful. I have talked about this before, but I had an issue with the Fellini package once, and it was a major tear on the package from Criterion.com, and they fixed it over email with me in like less than an hour. It was crazy good customer service, and they sent me a new piece to that, and it ended up being just fine. Barnes and Noble, if you can, if you're like me and you're a rewards member, they're a good place to go as well. Sometimes it's nice just to go in the store and be able to actually pick up the product and look at it, and just get out and look at movies. So I get stuff from there as well. I would also say that if you really, so this is an example, Winchester 73, I wanted this the day it came out. I was actually able to get it 30% off, and that was good enough for me because I wasn't waiting till a sale to get Winchester 73, then wait for that movie forever from the Criterion Collection. So sometimes you can get a discount that way as well. What I do not think you should do, what you should not do, don't buy Criterion's, and I would say this kind of goes for me, this would go for Arrow as well. If you order from Arrow, don't buy them at full price ever. You'll feel bad about that because it's so much more expensive. It's like $15-20 more, right? Like or even maybe more than that, depending on if you get a 4K. So not worth doing. Just hold off on that. I'm telling that to myself as much as to anybody who might be watching. Criterions are not really something, you can make a collection out of if you don't work the sales a little bit. Do get a great boutique edition of a movie you love. I'll give you an example of something I'm talking about, going back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, this is a movie that I have a 4K of, but I have a bare bones 4K. I would love to have something nicer than this. This is just such minimum packaging. The same has happened for movies like Goodfellas. When I've gone back and said, I really wish I had the premium of that product. I do think for a film that you absolutely love, it's like one of your favorite films, maybe it's in your top 10, 20, 100, depending on how much you want to spend, those kind of films, I do think every time I've not gotten the best version, I've regretted it. Okay? But on the other hand, this is something I've trained myself, I do not buy a really nice piece of media that's boutique and special and like $40, $50, $60 just because it has great cover art. I really try to pick and choose my battles with that. The movie that I'm absolutely in love with, that is where I will spend my money on the very nicest edition. And I'd be curious how you all feel about that in the comments. An example of this, Third Man put out at like $80, $90, $100 a set of that, and I've had my DVD forever. And as much as I like that movie, it's not one of my absolute very favorites, even though it's a great film. So I held off on that, and I do that all the time. I will break that rule on every occasion, but for the most part, that's something that I try to avoid doing, is impulse buying because of really cool cover art or packaging, and especially if it's a movie that probably isn't that high quality to begin with. Now, if you're a collector of cult cinema, for you, that movie has a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, that might be the thing you want, the most premium version of it. Just kind of depends on who you are as a movie watcher, but that's how I feel about it. And one more do for you here before my last don't. Do embrace the movies you buy and feel good to have them. And I know that sounds simple to say, but sometimes I know I look at all these movies I have and I feel like, oh my gosh, like, why do I have this much stuff? Am I being consumerist? Am I just collecting a bunch of junk? And that's not what I'm doing. In my own library, and this is true for many of you, I have some of the best movies ever made that I can watch anytime I have the time to do so. It's a Friday night and I want to put in, I'm looking over here at my stack, City Lights by Charlie Chaplin. I have a Criterion version of that. I can pop it in. I don't have to stream it. I don't have to worry about any of that, rights issues. I just put it in and I watch it, And that is actually priceless. When you start trying to stream every little good movie, it's just so miserable to try to do. So do feel good that you own that piece of media. And chances are, if you're like me, one day you'll look up and you almost maybe forget you have it, or you haven't thought about it in a while, and you pop it in and you fall in love with movies all over again. The final thing I would say is a do not. And it's similar to a do not from earlier, but don't get obsessed with fear of missing out or FOMO. Okay, I had to really, really train myself on this, especially since I shop at places like Orbit DVD. They will show me a nice collector's set of something, and I'll feel like, oh gosh, that thing's going to be double the value, in a year. And what if I don't have it? And I have to remind myself, I can only own so many pieces of physical media with my budget and with, for practicality's sake. I know streamers, different people on YouTube that have cut back, and they've said, it just gets overwhelming to have too much stuff. So I really try to, when I see something cool, I like to look at it, sit on it, think about it for a little bit, and if it keeps coming up over and over in my mind, I'll more readily consider it. But in general, I try to just say, you know what? FOMO is just fear of missing out. It's okay if I don't get the thing. I'll have another chance at another great piece of physical media later. So it's walking that tightrope, but always trying to pursue the hobby in a healthy way that helps me love movies more and see more movies. Those are my takes anyway. Did you agree with some of this video? If you did and you want to click the like button, that'll help me out. Maybe you had a different thought or something you wanted to add. Please leave that in the comments. Anything that helps you with your physical media collecting. Consider subscribing if you haven't. I cover lots of stuff related to Criterion, Westerns, physical media. I just love movies and I love talking about them. And we love having you here. I'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.